Hi, Charmy.
Hello. I'm in Morse College and I'm a senior. I'm a Hindu. I'm also a classical dancer, which is usually how I go about it because it's a very spiritual dance form.
Do you think people know what Hinduism is?
I think there are a lot of misconceptions floating around. And
What are some of those?
Yeah, and I think part of the reason is because not everyone is necessarily as comfortable asking certain questions. For example, probably the most commonly asked question I get is, are you polytheistic? And I'm like, I don't consider myself to be. We do believe that there's one God. It's just expressed in various different deities because in Hinduism you believe God is in everything. So depending on what you're venerating, you choose the appropriate deity. Like there's a god of fire, there's, gods of water, music, everything under the sun, education. So usually it's difficult explaining to people, but I don't think it's that people don't know about it. I think it's not a very public religion necessarily. It's not very doctrinal, like there are procedures with pujas and stuff, but it's more about auspiciousness and less about just following rules and things like that.
I remember when we first met, you talked about how you express yourself through dance and that it was a very profound form of prayer for you.
Yeah, it's definitely my preferred form just because I think I grew up with it, and like I said, when you're younger, like I was Hindu because my parents were Hindu and we had a puja room in the house and like they dragged me to temple all the time, but somewhere along the way you develop your own spirituality, and that was around the time that I was moving up in dance, so it happened at the same time. So I think that's why dance has become so intertwined with my personal spirituality, because I grew in two different ways at the same time. That at school, because Yale is a college, a lot of other things eclipse a person's religious life. It tends to take a backseat. Like even for me, sometimes I forget to say my prayers and I know like more like, oh crap, I have an exam, this is bad, or something like that. I think that I was definitely more physically active. I went to temple every week when I was at home, and I still do when I go home, but as soon as I come back to school, there's just so much other stuff going on. I think that's just the nature of life at Yale. So I would hope that people find ways to express their spirituality in whatever way fits into their lifestyle